Mr. Cummings, you're close to getting a detention. Just. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2023 Brooklyn City Schools Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Dr. Ted Caleris. I'm the superintendent here in Brooklyn. I've been in and out of the district for almost 17 years now, and today is a great day to honor our alumni, our prestigious staff, and to really take a look at what Hurricane Pride means. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to take a few minutes to acknowledge those that made this evening possible. Our Hall of Fame committee members, Mike Becker, Debbie Hall, Jackie Holko, Andy Selhertz, Bob Hennings, Michelle Hirsch, and Jim Verba. Could we give them a round of applause, please? Where's Veronica? Veronica Nuremberg is our athletics secretary, and I promise you this would not have happened without her, so Veronica, thank you for everything. I just have to ask, was this better than the Heights ceremony? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Acknowledge our Board of Education members here this evening, Mr. Rocky Neal, our board president. We have Rob Slattery, a board member. Our newly appointed board member, Karam Hazrouni. And then I see Mr. Rick Singer, our former board member in the audience, so welcome, Rick. Thank you. I'd like to thank our administrators, our staff members, faculty, classified staff, and of course our students for being here this evening. Today, as we gather to celebrate the induction of our esteemed alumni into the Brooklyn City Schools Hall of Fame, we come together not just to honor the achievements of the remarkable individuals and teams before us, but to recognize the powerful theme that unites us all here this evening, the power of telling a story. Each year, as a school district, we adopt a theme that kind of drives our work. Last year was Win the Day, Get Better Every Day, and this year is Tell Your Story. Tonight, each of our inductees and honorary recipients have their own story to tell. Their journey has defined their success, and tonight we're here to celebrate each of them and each of their individual stories. So congratulations to our inductees. Tradition, as we all know, is the backbone of an enduring legacy. It's the thread that weaves together the stories of those who have come before us and those who will follow. Tradition is the thread that connects our past to our present, guiding us as we shape the future. The long, rich tradition of the Brooklyn City Schools endures today, as evidenced by over 200 people here this evening to honor our past alumni and staff. So thank you for being here. Excellence is the result of unwavering dedication, countless hours of hard work, and the pursuit of perfection. It's about pushing the boundaries of what is possible, setting high standards, and consistently striving to surpass them. Excellence doesn't happen overnight. It's the culmination of a lifelong commitment to improvement. Excellence is achieved not only through sacrifice of the individual, but the support, encouragement, and love, sometimes tough love, of parents, family members, friends, coaches, teachers, or anyone else that has supported our alumni along the way. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge our family, friends, and supporters who have paved the way for each of our alumni and faculty through the years. Pride is something that we take very seriously in the Brooklyn City Schools. We feel pride in our hearts when we look back on our journeys, when we reflect on our hard work, dedication, and sacrifices that brought us to this moment. It is the joy of knowing that we've made a difference, that our stories have meaning, and we've left a legacy worth celebrating. Pride is what I feel right now, standing here as a superintendent of schools, seeing what the Brooklyn City Schools means to so many over the years. So thank you again for being here. Today's Hall of Fame inductions are about more than just tradition, excellence, and pride. They're about the power of their stories. Each of us has a unique story to tell, a narrative that spans the spectrum of achievement, from the athletic arena to the world of culture and performing arts, and even into the realm of career accomplishments. We are storytellers, not just through our words, but through actions, our achievements, and our impact on the world. Our stories inspire the next generation, showing them what's possible when you dare to dream and work tirelessly to make those dreams a reality. It is a great representation for our current students to see what life is like beyond Brooklyn High School. And so again, I want to welcome our students, thank our students for being here. We are role models for our kids, communities, and for the world. We carry the torch of tradition, reminding everyone that the past is a guidepost. We embody excellence, proving that with determination and dedication, anyone can achieve greatness. As we gather here today to induct new members into our Hall of Fame, let us remember that each of them has their own story to tell. Each of them has demonstrated excellence, upheld our traditions, and filled us with pride. But it's not just about the accomplishments, it's about the journey, the struggles, the sacrifices, and the moments of inspiration. And I would say that our teams here, our honorary recipients, and our inductees truly inspire us. Thank you and congratulations to the newest members of our Hall of Fame and honorary recipients. I'm so looking forward to the stories we will hear tonight. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Katie Harkelroad, our assistant principal at Brooklyn High School, who will say a few words. Thank you.
Good evening. As Dr. Caleris just said, I am the new assistant principal at Brooklyn High School. My name is Katie Harkelroad. I am so impressed to see the crowd that has shown up tonight to honor these individuals. So I would like to welcome you all to our Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm honored to be here and excited to learn about the many rich traditions of Brooklyn City Schools, as well as the accomplishments of our notable alumni. As we honor you, our current students who are with us tonight also have an opportunity to learn of the amazing accomplishments and to leave here tonight inspired. Based on the examples you have set, it is my sincere hope that the students of Brooklyn City Schools understand that through hard work, perseverance, and passion, anything is possible. At this time, I would like to introduce longtime teacher and coach, Jim Verba.
Ron Szudy. A man who needs no introduction, a man who doesn't want an introduction, a man who deserves an introduction. I have the honor of introducing arguably the most popular teacher in the history of Brooklyn City Schools. Humble, hardworking, caring, kind, and inspiring all come to mind when describing Ron Szudy. Ron was the most positive person I have ever met. He never said a bad word about any student, teacher, parent, or administrator in all the years I knew him. Yet, what stands out about Ron was his passion. He was passionate about teaching history. Although I never had Mr. Szudy in class, I got to experience his passion for the Civil War when talking about the Battle of Gettysburg on our numerous 8th grade class trips. When on trips with Ron, I can remember him describing the battle so clearly and in such detail that the students and chaperones felt like they were there at the battle. I can only imagine how passionate he was in his classes. Ron was also passionate about coaching while at Brooklyn, whether it be as an assistant to Coach Nowak with the baseball team or as an assistant football coach with the 9th grade or middle school program. Ron's passion could always be seen. He would always build his players up and motivate them to do their best. Ron was also passionate about Brooklyn athletics, cultural arts, and students in general. He could always be seen attending and cheering on his students. To this day, I can remember Ron's support at our girls' basketball games. It made such a difference to the girls that he was there in the stands. He would even come to some practices to volunteer to help put in his famous airplane press. Ron's passion for Brooklyn schools and their students never wavered, even to this day. He remained 100% dedicated to the district, never taking a day off from being positive and motivating. He worked each and every day to inspire his students and motivate them to be the best version of themselves, no matter what the circumstances. Ron bled blue and gold. It's my honor to bring up Mr. Ron Szudy, our guest speaker.
Wow. It is an honor and a great privilege to be invited back to the home of the Brooklyn Hurricanes for this evening of celebration and recognition. Now, this auditorium and this historic stage have seen many memorable events, as you all know. This evening, Brooklyn High welcomes home these talented, accomplished, and beloved inductees into the Brooklyn Hall of Fame. And how very deserving it will be that the wrestling room will now bear the name of Coach Drago, Coach Joe Drago. For many years, Joe and I shared classrooms and sidelines, cafeteria lines, and bus rides. We've walked the slopes of the battlefield at Gettysburg and visited the sacred grounds of Arlington Cemetery with many, many 8th graders. Joe and I share many hurricane memories. This evening we celebrate, honor, and remember the finest traditions of Hurricane Blue and Gold. We gather in honor of hurricanes past, but we stand in solidarity with hurricanes present, and we anticipate the adventures of hurricanes yet to come. Out in this audience tonight of over 200, as Dr. Ted said, are hurricane alumni from across the many years who themselves have brought great honor to the blue and gold. I wonder why so many have gathered together here tonight. Nearly 50 years ago, on a beautiful spring weekend, the Brooklyn High Drama and Music departments performed the great musical Oliver here on this stage. I was fortunate to be faculty chaperone for the performances that weekend. The music and dramatic performances were truly memorable. This auditorium was packed for all the performances. And Sunday closing matinee arrived. Just before the closing number, I was standing by that back door when slowly and very quietly the door opened behind me. A neighborhood lady peeked in, and I said to her, ma'am, the show is just about to close. She said to me, sir, I know. I was here Friday night, and the show was so great, I just came back to cheer those kids once more. And so she did. I think that's why so many of you have come this evening. You want to cheer the Hurricanes again, at least one more time, and to do it together. Now, for several generations, drama and music kids, for whom this auditorium was a second home, shared their own little secret. You know, they semi-whispered that this auditorium was haunted. Haunted by a benevolent ghost or spirit. This trickster moved props unexpectedly, played with the lights, made weird noises, and generally let loose his hurricane humor. Kids felt they were never alone in here. To be a hurricane meant, even then, that you were always in good company. Back in 1987, I was privileged to serve on the first Hall of Fame committee. I believe that we were one of the first area schools to establish a Hall of Fame to honor its accomplished graduates. So, what is the worth, what is the value of a Hall of Fame? Well, professional historians speak about the importance of what they call institutional memory. Scientists are grounded in the principle of the conservation of matter and energy. My beloved Beach Boys, they sang years ago about be true to your school. And that great musical philosopher poet, Willie Nelson, reminds us of the bittersweet, sweet truth. Ain't it funny how time slips away? What does it mean to be a Brooklyn Hurricane? What did it ever mean? What makes Brooklyn special? The author Kurt Vonnegut once wrote, true terror is to wake up one morning and discover that your high school class is running the country. True terror. But his fellow author, Saul Bellow, answers him well when he wrote, no school without spectacular eccentrics and crazy hearts is even worth attending. Coach Drago, spectacular eccentrics, crazy hearts. Coach sounds like our faculty lounge back in the day. Well, we were a small school tucked in between the city of Cleveland and Parma, and our smallness led to closeness. And our closeness made us very much like a family, and all that that means. As in all families, this hurricane family of ours shared joys and shared laughter, but we also shared our grief when a young life or a colleague was taken too soon, or a dream was shattered, or a heart broken. As the alma mater says, through joy and strife, Brooklyn Hurricanes have stood together. My own teaching career here began in 1970. Those were the days before Interstate I-480 was built, before there was a Ridge Park Square, before the Plain Dealer came here, and well before Cascade Crossing. Roseland Golf Course, the beloved Kitty Park, the local Brooklyn Airport were all beloved landmarks. And a great summer day for a Brooklyn kid meant swimming over in the old Brooklyn pool in Memorial Park, followed by a trip or two or three to PDQ. Some of you remember. Brooklyn kids were, Brooklyn kids are, authentic to the bone. Brooklyn kids are as real as rain, tough, resilient, adventurous and loyal, curious and excited by the kind of learning that seems solid and real, hungry for dreams and thirsty for a fuller life. Brooklyn kids were willing to trust in those teachers and trust in those coaches who were most willing to trust in them. That was the Brooklyn secret. And when that mesh of mutual trust transpired, magic could happen. Magic in the classroom, magic on the athletic field. Now, magic fell on Brooklyn sports teams way back in 1974, now nearly 50 years ago. Coach Jerry Nowak's Hurricane baseball team, Coach Jerry Younger's football team, and Coach Ed Pogula's Hurricane basketball team all won the Cuyahoga Conference Championship that year. Playing in a conference that meant we competed against North Royalton, Lawrenceville, Brecksville, and Strongsville, already then much bigger schools. We punched well above our weight class, and we won. Signs were posted at each road entrance to the city reading, "Welcome to Brooklyn, the home of champions." Even pregame warm-up jumping jacks just had to end with the loud and proud chant of Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn. And not long afterward, Mayor John Coyne met with Coach Jerry Younger, and the motto, Brooklyn Pride, citywide, began to be seen everywhere. As Simon and Garfunkel sang about such a time it was, oh, what a time of innocence, a time of confidences. Biddulph Road became a street of dreams that showed it could lead almost anywhere, to state capitals and world capitals, to great centers of learning, to the plains of Africa and the Olduvai Gorge, to National Football League stadiums and Major League Baseball parks, to the historic Old Vic Theatre in London, to Severance Hall, to Broadway, to Hollywood. And it also led to wonderful small streets in wonderful small towns and wonderful big cities all across this wonderful, blessed country. The late Mr. Howell Jack Chambers was a legendary industrial arts teacher here for many years. The shop was his realm. He told kids that he had hands that were gifted. These hands are gifted. He said that he could just look at a piece of wood or unfinished metal and see the finished product hiding there. A masterpiece in wood or metal waiting to be fashioned by gifted hands. And in his rich West Virginia accent and with his unconquerable Marine Corps pride, Jack Chambers was really talking about each one of them, each student, their potentially gifted hands, and the unfinished project that was to be each of their lives in the years to come. We remember you, Jack Chambers. We remember you. And in the course of time, some Brooklyn graduates indeed became skilled tradesmen and technicians and craftsmen. Some Hurricanes became aerospace engineers and designers, inventors, successful managers and entrepreneurs. Hurricanes became nurses and dentists, surgeons and physicians of all specialties. Hurricanes became attorneys and political leaders, police officers, firefighters, and other first responders and rescue workers. Some Hurricanes became explorers, paleontologists, historians, journalists, poets, authors and playwrights. There were hurricane artists and hurricane actors, hurricane storytellers and fine musicians, composers, and comedians. Oh, there were always comedians. There were clergymen and clergywomen, counselors, psychologists, and helping professionals of all types. There were pro football players, Major League Baseball players, and countless coaches from T-ball to the college level. And yes, many hurricanes became teachers. As years went by, little rascals became scholars and scientists. And angels with dirty faces became heroes who served our country in every branch of the military, attending all of our service academies, and serving in all ranks, from enlisted to the rank of Major General. Perhaps most important of all, countless hurricanes grew to become loving, responsible, and self-sacrificing parents, and now grandparents, with even greater dreams for their loved ones. So here we have gathered to honor achievement and to remember for just a moment our hurricane past. But we also stand in solidarity with the fine Brooklyn hurricanes of today, the present day. Now, this past July, Superintendent Dr. Ted Caleris, I understand, visited the homes and families of each member of this year's new kindergarten class. He presented them with yard signs, proudly proclaiming them to be members of the Brooklyn High class of 2036. How great is that, Dr. Ted? How great is that? Well, I was privileged to have taught history and social studies here at Brooklyn High School. One of the courses I taught was an elective for 11th and 12th graders called Civil War America. I would often begin the first class by sharing this: a gritty, authentic Civil War relic. Many, many years ago, this was found near the battlefield of Gettysburg. It's a piece of a tree from well over 160 years ago. And in it, it contains a spent .58 caliber Civil War bullet embedded deeply within it. I would ask the class to imagine, what if this bullet could talk? What might it say to us today? What could it tell us about the horror of war? Any war, but especially a civil war. What sort of young man fired this bullet on those blazing hot days back in July of 1863? Where was he from? What made him join the fight? What became of him? Whose life was saved because this bullet found a tree rather than the body of another young soldier? And who among us today is alive because that soldier, at least on that day, was spared from this bullet? Well, I wonder what it would be like if the walls and lockers of Brooklyn High, that have seen so many years of school come and go, I wonder if they could talk. What stories could they tell? What did these listening lockers, the lockers out there, see and hear and feel? Lockers, like our minds and our hearts, are made to keep and store things. Sometimes, mysteriously, things get lost. If these Brooklyn lockers are wise, they will know. They will know what to keep and what to remember. They may even have the grace to know when to forget and when to let go. For how many first dates, first dances, first loves did they see out there in those hallways? How many friendships, deep and enduring, or lasting only for the season of a single school year? How many homecomings and proms? How many championships and tough losses? How many broken hearts that, after all, did mend in time? These lockers out there, I think, are listening still. For as long as there are voices of Brooklyn kids that fill those hallways. Now, tomorrow morning, the school bell will ring once again. Do they still ring school bells? Kids will enter school for an ordinary September Friday school day. Hardly. For there are no ordinary school days. There are no ordinary schools because there are no ordinary kids. School days that seem to be ordinary, you and I have learned, you and I know, are days full of promise, full of hope, days full of wonder. Now, tomorrow morning, some student may forget his or her homework. Some kid may tease his or her best friend. Some teacher may even lose his or her temper just for a moment. But tomorrow, also, some student may ask a question. Some student may solve an equation. Some student may hear of an exciting historical event, or read a great poem, or share a great piece of music, and quietly but wonderfully, the direction of a young person's life goals may turn tomorrow. Tomorrow night, the Hurricane football team under Coach Tim McFarland will take the field against Painesville-Harvey. The timeless rhythm and rhyme of a football Friday night will unfold here once again. The incomparable Hurricane marching band, led by Mr. Sean Sullivan, will thunder through the neighborhood streets on its way over to Hurricane Alley and Jerry Younger Field. Parents and friends will gather in the stands. The Brooklyn Athletic Boosters will pop their world-class popcorn once again. And down on the field, Jerry Younger Field, the Hurricane football team, like countless teams before them, will line up to meet the challenge. They will dig in side by side with teammates who will live on in their memories forever, if only they knew it. Dare I close with some words from Shakespeare's King Henry V before the great Battle of Agincourt. I pray thee, wish not one man more, for old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but we shall remember with advantage what feats we did that day. This story shall the good man teach his son, and in it we shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of hurricanes.
Thank you, Mr. Szudy. We are pleased to have some of our outstanding students joining us this evening to introduce our new Hall of Fame members. These students are leaders in the Brooklyn City Schools community and perhaps some of our future Hall of Fame inductees. We hope that our students are inspired by the legacies of our Hall of Fame members and that our Hall of Fame members are encouraged by the accomplishments of our youth.
Good evening, everyone. Our first student presenter is Valentina Roa, a junior in the cosmetology program at Caleris Career Center. She plans to earn her cosmetology license and open up her own salon.
Thank you, Ms. Holko. Tonight I am pleased to announce our first inductee, Patricia Dehaney. Class of 1972, she was a member of the first graduating cosmetology class under Ms. Helen Anick. Ms. Dehaney's professional nominations include achievement of Best Hairstyling for Makeup and Hairstyling Guild Award 3 times, and British Academy Film Awards 2 times, for the movie Vice and Hillbilly Elegy. She won an Academy Award for the Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Ms. Dehaney is also the recipient of Critics' Choice Awards in Santa Barbara Film Festival. She has multiple awards nominations throughout her career. Congratulations, Ms. Dehaney. Come forward to receive your gift.
Hello, Brooklyn. O-H-I-O. Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Caleris, and to the Brooklyn City Schools Hall of Fame Committee for organizing this event and presenting me with this honor. It's with really great pride that I'm here with my fellow inductees from the class of 2023 Brooklyn High School Hall of Fame. What the heck? I also like to thank the class of 72 reunion committee who initiated this nomination, Fran, Linny, Paula, also Jim Coyne, who was persistent. I heard that laugh. I'm completely humbled to be a part of this. I'll enjoy my classmates, Mark Hyde from the Hall of Fame class of 2000, and Cindy Versansky from the class of 2006. I've known Cindy since I was 7 years old. We were always partners. I always admired her hard work and her tenacity. She taught me that I could do better than I was doing and work harder, and I've always appreciated her for that. Thank you. I truly have a lifetime of things to be grateful for, and I'd like to express my gratitude and thank you for sharing their love and support through joy and strife. My friends, thank you so much, all of you, my family, Sarah, and my loving partner, Tim, that are here with me tonight. Couldn't do it without you all. Thank you. And you Blakers, yeah, I love you to the moon. So the man that started my career and gave me my first job when I was still a student was Tony Ina at TCG Salons. He taught me all about precision hair cutting and really gave me the opportunity to excel. And in 1970, Brooklyn High announced that they were going to offer a accredited cosmetology course. I eagerly signed on. Our beloved instructor was Mrs. Ellen Einig. When it turned out that our new vocational wing was not completed in time to start school, They didn't know what to do with us, so they hurriedly found a public school for us to go to, a beauty school, put us on a bus, and we went there every day until the building was finished. So you can imagine, here's poor Mrs. Onick with quite a handful of 16 teenage girls and a guy, and trying to get them back into the school environment. She had her hands full, that's for sure. Mrs. Onick was so skilled at her craft, and she made it all just look easy and effortless. Mrs. Onick was always there for us, and she really never let anyone down. She was always there to help you and make you feel like you did a good job. She was a great, great instructor. And this is where I learned the fundamentals of hairstyling. If it wasn't for Mrs. Onick's instruction, I never would have achieved the things I have in the film industry. So thank you, Mrs. Onick. Thank you, Brooklyn. I will always be a proud graduate of the dynamic class of 1972. Let's hear it, guys. Come on. I'm blessed to say that many have remained friends for more than 50 years. Peggy and Fran, love you. Of course, there's too many that have passed. Our memories of them cling to us. Those sweet souls, I know, are smiling down and are so proud. Carol Bodrock, Janie Ridgway, Judy Grassi, my business partner with Moxie, Dennis Petcack. You're always in our hearts. Finally, Mom and Dad. My brothers, Jimmy and Dan, good kid. I love you. Just remember, you guys, you just never know the effect you can have on someone's future. Be a mentor, find a mentor, and be kind. Thank you.
Our next student presenter is Miguel Viloz, a senior baseball player. Miguel plans to enlist in the United States Air Force after graduation.
Thank you, Coach Hall. I have the pleasure of introducing Len Trocano, a class of 1974 Brooklyn High School graduate. He was a four-sport athlete and was elected captain in 3 different sports. Mr. Trocano was elected first team All-Conference for football in 1973 and first team All-Conference for baseball in 1972. He also led the conference with a .528 batting average in 1972. Mr. Trocano received a full football scholarship to the University of Idaho and also attended Cleveland State, Walsh, Canyon College of Idaho. Professionally, he had a pristine career and is now a managing director of a worldwide rubbering manufacturer, Anderson International. Congratulations, Mr. Trocano. Please come forward and receive your award.
No good without glasses. First, I want to thank Superintendent Caleris, Principal Larson, Athletic Director Becker, and the school board members, as well as the Hall of Fame Election Committee. Your ongoing support of Brooklyn alumni is truly appreciated by all of us on the stage, as well as all of the future inductees that are yet to come. My time at Brooklyn was wonderful. I had no problems at all. I've developed a lot of lifelong friendships that have endured for over 50 years. It's It's truly an honor to be inducted into the Brooklyn Hall of Fame. I spent the better part of 30 years with Anderson visiting overseas clients, troubleshooting polymer processes, and selling capital equipment. Those we leave home to take care of family matters never get credit due. My wife, Kim, was back home taking care of family affairs while I was in Moscow, Beijing, or some other far-off destination. Kim was always my biggest supporter. She believed in me what others did not. When I was in over my head, which was quite often, she always had words of encouragement. What I was able to accomplish in business would not have been possible if not for Kim's support, understanding, and counseling. I'm lucky to have a wife and best friend. Role models and mentors have always been there to help me with the challenges I have taken on, especially outside of my comfort zone. Our parents were our role models. They taught us to always respect authority and the importance of family. Their integrity, character, work ethic, and compassion for others set the tone they expected us to emulate. We understood that our words meant something, and not only worry about what others are doing, be a leader, not a follower. Dad thought his boys could do no wrong, but Mom knew better. I learned something that's pretty easy to win in sports when you got a great team that's disciplined and you got a lot of good athletes around you. And a lot of them are here today. Appreciate them showing up. But the same thing went in business. So 51 years ago, the summer of 1972, we were introduced to head coach Jerry Younger and his staff. They taught us that a group working together as a team could accomplish what no individual could. We learned that leaders were those who people chose to follow. They take full responsibility when things go wrong, and they give credit to the team when everything goes right. It took time for their mentoring to sink in. We didn't win right off the bat. But once it did, Brooklyn went on a 14-1-1 winning streak through the 74-75 undefeated conference champ season. I missed the camaraderie playing high school football most of all. It's hard to get that Friday night lights feeling back once again once you take off the pads. I was fortunate to have 2 World War II veterans as mentors in my first 10 years of Anderson International. One was the chief engineer, and the other one was the international sales representative. Almost 100 years of experience between the two of them. There are senior employees who have a wealth of knowledge, and when asked, will gladly pass this knowledge on to new employees. They taught me machine design, process troubleshooting skills, cultural norms, and values of our overseas clients, and the significance of talking less and listening more when meeting with clients. I had confidence in knowing that these two could get me out of trouble while I was overseas on business, and I called on them often. I'm the oldest of 4 brothers. I could not be prouder of my 3 younger brothers. We lost our brother Brian to cancer this summer. I'm thankful to have played with him in football teams, baseball, and track. Without question, Brian was the finest man I ever met. I never saw Ricky play high school football. I hear he was pretty good. He had a hell of a spell at Pitt. He was MVP at Pitt when there were, 3 future NFL Hall of Famers on the team? I did get to see Jimmy play linebacker at Brooklyn, and also a football conference MVP as linebacker, same as Ricky. Ricky was no linebacker, though. I have no doubt Jimmy could have started for any high school team in Ohio. My brothers were role models, best friends, good husbands, loving fathers, and grandparents. They have always shown the same level of integrity, strength, and kindness that we have learned from our parents. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next, we have Gabe Osorio, a senior here at Brooklyn High School. He has enlisted in the United States Coast Guard and plans to study psychology.
Thank you, Ms. Holko. Tonight, I am introducing our Hall of Fame inductee, Ken Soeder, class of 1981. He was a four-sport athlete excelling in football, wrestling, baseball, and track and field. For the varsity football team, Mr. Soeder was named to the Plain Dealer Dream Team, earned first team all-conference for both offense and defense, was named to the Associated Press Northeast Ohio first team offense, named honorable mention all-conference, and led the conference in scoring. Mr. Soeder was also named MVP on the undefeated 1980 team, received honorable mention all-Ohio senior year, and participated in the East-West All-Star Game. In addition, he earned letters for both wrestling and baseball. Congratulations, Mr. Soeder. Please come forward to receive your award.
This is all I got right here. I'm sure you're all disappointed by that. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know everybody's busy with personal things and their business, what have you, and just really appreciate you taking the time to come out and honor us. The first thing I want to say is it's just an absolute honor. It's amazing, thrilling to be named into the Brooklyn Hall of Fame. The first person I need to thank is a guy who did a lot of work to get me nominated. He went into the handwritten notes of our coach way back from 1981, and he saw my name in a few places. That was the coach Jerry Younger, and he nominated me for this Hall of Fame honor, and his name is Harry McCormick. I also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee. Without them, obviously, I wouldn't be here. I need to also thank my parents. There's my mom over there. I need to thank my parents for actually allowing me to play the game of football on their front yard, which was pristine, even after they told me not to play football on the front yard of the. Also, I need to thank our coaches back then. At the time, I didn't realize how great these coaches were. I never really appreciated the skill, the dedication, the knowledge, the winning attitude. And a couple of them are right here on the stage right now, Coach Szudy and Coach Drago. It just seemed like back then, 78, 79, 80, 81, we were just packed with extremely talented coaches, including Coach Younger, head football coach, my position coach, Coach Mike's, obviously Coach Drago in wrestling, Coach Szudy, and Coach Nowak. I would not be here today also if it wasn't for all the teams that I played with. It was a collection of young gentlemen from the streets of Brooklyn with just raw talent. I see many of them here tonight. Thank you for showing up. I wanted to especially call out the offensive linemen. Those guys are the ones that do all the work. They're the ones that are in the trenches that they don't get the glory. The glory goes to the guys like me, quarterbacks, receivers, but they're the ones that do all the work. And I need to call out a few of these guys. Left tackle, Ed Demian. He was a first-team All-Ohio selection that year. The late, great Ed Demian. My brother, my younger but bigger brother, played left guard. A few months after that season, my senior season, he qualified for the state wrestling tournament, so he was a heck of an athlete. Center, Jerry Hallman. Right guard, Mike O'Malley. The same guy, it's the same guy who's the Cuyahoga County lead prosecuting attorney. Which got me to thinking, back then, these offensive linemen, they were manhandling the thugs on the defensive line in order for me to spring loose for extra yardage. And it seems to me that Mike O'Malley is handling the same thugs that he handled back then, and now he's throwing them in jail. I don't know if that made any sense. So it comes full circle for him. Right tackle, there were Mark Bentz, Vince Mastery, and our tight end at that time, Eddie Krajowski, who is now a Brooklyn fireman. And that's it, the end. Thank you very much for your attention.
Congratulations. Our next student presenter is Jade Free. A junior in the marching band, Jade plans to attend college to study archaeology and anthropology.
Thank you, Coach Hall. I am pleased to introduce Kathy Kudravi, a 1983 Brooklyn High School graduate. During high school, she was the co-editor of the school newspaper and National Honor Society member. Ms. Kudravi earned a degree in journalism from Kent State University. From 1999 to 2012, she was a coordinating producer on ESPN, continuing from 2012 to 2014 as a sports editorial director at CNN, and was a digital director of the American Sports Network from 2015 to 2017. She is currently the executive editor of the New International Sports Research and Knowledge Lab at Arizona State University. Ms. Kudravi is the recipient of 2 Emmy Awards for Best Daily Sports Show and has been recognized by the Foreign Press Association, according to ASU News. In addition, she is the chair of the Executive Committee on Civil Rights and Social Action for the Association for Women in Sports Media. Congratulations, Ms. Kudravi. Please come forward and receive your award.
Usually I don't need a microphone. I'm loud enough. Thank you to the Brooklyn High School Hall of Fame, the Board of Education, to Scott Smith, who nominated me for this award, to my husband, Richard, who has followed me all around the country over the last 31 years. Without him, could not have made this happen, because he usually was the one who stayed home while I went on to do what I was doing. Having a teacher who believes in you can be really a motivating factor in everything that you do. I was already a motivated student. My parents made sure I was motivated. But having somebody that made sure that your passions were fulfilled was really important. And I wanted to thank Mrs. Spossett. I'm sorry, Dr. Spossett. You're always Mrs. Spossett to me. Dr. Spossett. She believed in me so much that she drove me to some of the first assignments I ever did for the Hurricane's Eye. We went over and looked at her historical houses on Tiedemann. We went out to NASA to interview a shuttle pilot, even though I wanted to be an astronaut, but couldn't because vision was too bad. Dr. Spossett made sure that I was able to fulfill the things that I wanted to do. I always remember going to interview Robert Overmyer at NASA. She has a pretty good success rate, too. I know of at least 5 people who were in around the same time I was in school who went into journalism as well. So I would say that's a pretty good success rate for a small school. I had other professors and teachers who really believed in me. Doc Wood, Some of you know Frau Gerhard, who taught German, and Mr. Konasek. Those are my 4 teachers who sort of supported me in everything that I did. They always believed in me. They always supported me. So all of these people pretty much guided me to where I wanted to be. I have professors from when I was at Kent State who I'm still in touch with, who are my mentors. And I want to do that for my students as well. I try to make sure that I'm mentoring them and that I stay involved in their lives. And I'll tell you a quick story. Coach Drago, when I was working at ESPN, they brought out for this new show that was going to be on ESPN that Chef Michael Simon was one of the hosts on. And I went up, I had to meet Michael Simon, of course, right? You know, famous Cleveland chef. And I stood there and talked to him, and he said, "Yo, where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I was on the west side." He goes, "You know, it's always west or east." And I said, "I went to Brooklyn." And he said, "Do you know Coach Drago?" And that is the truth. And then he, of course, asked if I knew the Friedels, and I said, "Of course I knew the Friedels." So, but to think about the impact that somebody has, Coach Drago obviously did not coach Michael Simon, but he remembered you and brought you up to me at ESPN. So journalism has taken me all over the country and kind of around the world too. I've been to covered Super Bowls, NBA Finals, World Series, NCAA tournaments, where Jim Boeheim, Syracuse coach, once yelled at me for 7.5 minutes because I had the audacity to ask him about his 0% graduation rate. And yes, it was all on live TV, and yes, the tape still lives. I had to explain one time to Bill Belichick why reporting about police being stationed at the end of his street after he cut Bernie Kosar, why it was an important story to report. He did not like it. Oh yeah, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I've made athletes stop and think and even cry about a question I asked them. The simple question is, what do you want people to remember about you? I've worked a lot of nights and weekends and holidays, and my kids got used to the point where I would go to work when I had to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they would come at 3 o'clock in the morning and wave to me out the window. And you know, when you've got like a 6 and a 7-year-old, you're like, "Get back to bed." They didn't listen very well. But that hard work and the support of everyone has meant that I've been able to share in the success. Winning the 2 Emmys, the Foreign Press Association Award for the documentary that I produced at CNN International are some of the proudest moments, not just because I won them, but because I won them with a team. I had a lot of people that worked with me that were very supportive. Like I said, I've traveled, I've worked long hours, I lost a car in a parking lot. I only once locked the keys for my rental car in the trunk of my car, only once, which I'm very proud of, considering how crazy things can get. But I've gotten to do a lot of things, a lot of different things, and no day has been the same. And I'm happy to say my curiosity is still not quelled. I still am a curious person. I still want to learn more, and I still want to tell stories. But no matter what, I'll always be a girl from Brooklyn. Thank you.
Congratulations. Ashlyn Dyson is our next student presenter. Ashlyn is a senior on the basketball team. She plans to attend Marietta College, continue playing basketball at the collegiate level, and major in psychology.
Thank you, Mrs. Holko. I have the privilege of introducing Mark Maliniak, a 2004 Brooklyn High School graduate. He was active in the marching band as band officer, section leader, drum major, and held multiple first chairs in concert band, Mac 8 Honors Band, and jazz ensemble. He was also a member of the National Honor Society. Mr. Maliniak has toured nationally and internationally with the Cleveland Orchestra, the Philadelphia Orchestra, the San Francisco Symphony, and the Buffalo Philharmonic. He is a recipient of the Dr. Calvin E. Weber Award for Excellence in Trumpet Performance and the Roger Voisin Trumpet Award in 2011. Mr. Maliniak was also an assistant professor of trumpet at the University of Akron and is currently fourth trumpet in the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. Congratulations, Mr. Maliniak. Please come forward to receive your award.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, students, and staff that voted for me to join this prestigious place in our school's history. It's an honor for me to be here tonight to share the stage with Patricia, Kathy, Jocelyn, Len, and Ken. When I received news that I was being nominated for the Brooklyn High School Hall of Fame, I was genuinely surprised. There are a few people that I'd like to thank for their roles in my musical journey, without whom I probably wouldn't be here and where I'm at today in my career with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. First, I'd like to thank Sean Sullivan, my former band director, not only for nominating me for this award, but for his guidance, support, and belief in me as a student here. When Sean came to Brooklyn, I was in the 8th grade and had been playing the trumpet for 3 years. From his first day, his energy and passion for music was contagious. He was motivating and generous with his time and resources. He would open up the band room at 7 in the morning so that I can come and practice on this stage before school started, and often would let me stay late in the evening so that I could also practice on this stage after school hours. We listened to music together, discussed what we heard, what we liked, what we didn't like. He would often send me home with CDs to listen to week after week. He encouraged me when I had concerns that every young musician faces: self-doubt, musical technique issues, am I good enough, career options, and how to improve when it felt like things would just never get better no matter how much I practiced. He prepared me for college courses by tutoring me in music theory, which is an in-depth study of all the scales, arpeggios, chords, and how they work together structurally in a piece of music. He advised and supported my decisions with my college choices, and although he recommended that I get a music education degree, he supported my dream to perform. I think it worked out okay. The band program here was and still is a motivating environment, which allowed me the resources to grow and develop the beginning of my career aspirations. Sean encouraged me to join the jazz band, pit band, solo and ensemble competitions. He appointed me as the drum major for my senior year's marching band season and supported my outside activities in the Cleveland Youth Wind Symphony and Cleveland Orchestra Youth Orchestra. He often came to those performances. During and after college, Sean encouraged the students here to take lessons with me. I don't know why. Not only employing me as I was still freelancing and living from gig to gig, as we say, but also allowing me a stage to practice on, just as he had done all those years ago. I wouldn't be a musician if it weren't for the critical beginning years that I had here at Brooklyn with Mr. Sullivan, and I'm sure that the many students he's taught would say the same. I, of course, want to thank my teachers in college. I went to Baldwin Wallace College for my undergraduate degree, and I received a master's degree in trumpet performance from the Cleveland Institute of Music. And I was fortunate to study with two members who are members of the Cleveland Orchestra, Jack Szudy and Michael Sachs, who are my musical heroes, my mentors, and who guided me and molded me into the musician and trumpet player that I am today. Not a day goes by that I don't reference their weekly instruction, the way that they sound when they play. Both their influence on me as a trumpet player is immeasurable, and I only hope to be able to pass what I've learned from them onto my students. Finally, I'd like to thank my parents for all their love and unconditional support. Without them, I would have never had the opportunities to study and take lessons with some amazing teachers, not only on trumpet, but also on piano. We came from a very, very modest income household. My mom worked 2 jobs, and my dad worked at the machine mill. And yet my parents always insisted that if I desired lessons, they would find a way to pay for it. They never said no. When the time came for me to upgrade from my first student trumpet, they purchased a new professional box Stradivarius trumpet, which lasted me 20 years. I'll never forget opening up that case for the first time, smelling the plush case fabric, and seeing that shiny silver trumpet, which was mine. When the time and suggestion came from my piano teacher to purchase a quality piano from the old, out-of-tune, upright piano that we had, my parents purchased me a used baby grand piano. They saw that I had a dream and passion for music and not once deterred me away from it. They provided for a child that had love for something and wanted to help me as long as I desired this dream. They drove me all over town for lessons, rehearsals, and concerts. They supported me financially in college and with my choices, and would do whatever they needed to do to make sure I had the best instruction and environment to learn and grow. They wanted me to be happy and to chase my passion, as all loving parents want for their children. This is truly an honor for me to be here, and was a nice way for me to reflect on my beginnings, where I humbly started, and what course my life might have taken had I never chosen the trumpet all the way back in 1996, nor had these people and their influence in my life. I've been very fortunate in my career. I've played with 30 different professional orchestras. I've played in 8 different countries, from Carnegie Hall in New York to the Musikverein in Vienna, Austria. I've been on faculty of 3 different college universities. But it all started right here, on this stage, and in that band room over there. They say never forget where you came from, and I haven't, and I won't. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate with us. It's an incredible honor for me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next student presenter is Sierra Jackson, a junior pre-nursing student at Caleris Career Center. She plans to attend college and have a career as a NICU nurse.
Thank you, Coach Hall. Tonight I'm introducing Jocelyn Rivera from the class of 2013. She was a 4-year varsity softball player and a 2-year varsity volleyball player. Ms. Rivera received an athletic scholarship and went on to play Division I softball in a college at Ball State University and the University of Montebello. She holds Brooklands High School records for strikeouts, shutouts, and lowest ERA in a single season. During her junior year, she had a batting average of .508. As a volleyball player, she was chosen for second-team All-Conference in both 2011 and 2012. Ms. Rivera is also the school's first Hispanic female to receive an athletic scholarship. Congratulations, Ms. Rivera. Please come forward to receive your reward.
Hey everyone, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Thank you, Rob Slattery, for nominating me. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for voting me in. I want to thank my teachers, my teammates, my coaches, all the way down to Mr. and Mrs. Neal, my 7th and 8th grade basketball coach, Coach Kelber, Coach Debbie. Thank you guys. You all contributed to my success as a student athlete. Most importantly, I want to thank my parents. Sorry. You guys are the best. You guys sacrificed a lot of time and effort to make me successful. My dad sacrificed his knees and his shins to catch for me every day. And I also want to congratulate everyone else who was nominated this year. It's a great honor, so thank you guys.
Congratulations. Aisha Madera, a current Hurricane softball player, will be introducing our first team award. After high school, Aisha plans to attend Cleveland State University to study dentistry.
Thank you, Ms. Holko. In his first year as head coach, Bob Kelber, assisted by Terry Thompson and Ken Patton, took the 1983 Brooklyn girls softball team to the AA state tournament in Ashland. The team complied at 18-2 record overall and won the Inland Conference Championship, posting a perfect 13-0 record. 9 players from the team earned all Inland Conference awards. The team advanced in the state Final Four with a 6-5 win over Columbus DeSales in the regional finals. The team eventually lost in the state semifinals to Warsaw Riverview by a score of 6-2. Congratulations to the softball team. Coach Kelber, please come forward to receive your team's award.
Get my cheaters. I would like to thank you for this special honor. The team is excited to be here tonight. Thank you to the athletic department and district for hosting this special event. I'd like to thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, the administration here at Brooklyn, including current Superintendent Ted Caleris. Congratulations to all the inductees here. It is an honor to be here with such great Brooklyn alumni. I'd like to thank Kenny Patton, who was my assistant coach. The Brooklyn Hurricane fast pitch softball team was a special team. It was a pleasure coaching these girls. The team won the Inland Conference with a record of 13-0, highlighted by 2 double-digit wins over Cuyahoga Heights. I had to bring that up because my son's the AD at Cuyahoga Heights. On our route to the state Final Four, the team defeated Columbia to win the sectional title. Elyria Catholic in the district championship, and then later defeated Columbus DeSales to win the regional championship. This team was led by first team Inland Conference winners, pitcher Donna Sullivan. Designated hitter Kelly Wild. Infielder Diane Wolgemuth. Outfielders Melanie Merhot and Paula Curlow. Second team Inland Conference winners were pitcher Cheryl Haschek, infielder Vicky Earhart. Honorable mention was Kathy Hartman, Renee Temis, and Kay Butler. In attendance tonight, and I'm coming up to speak about our team, is Melanie Merhot and Diane Wolgemuth. They were our 2 seniors on that team. Yeah, bring the team up. Come on. Come on up stage.
Yes, yes, we will. Okay, thanks. Are you sure, Grandma? We can knock you up. No, I'm good. Okay, you sure? Yeah. All right. Keep moving. I'm right with you. You can go first. Hi, everybody. My name is Diane Wolgemuth. Everybody called me Wogie. I played shortstop for the team. This team was a special, special team. And we were led by an amazing, amazing coach. He made us believe. every single game. He taught us the little things, the important things, you know, to get on base, you know, to advance the runner, to get that big hit. You know, how important it was to play great defense. You know, defense wins games. You know, the pitch 'em out, throw 'em out, you know, to strike the runner down trying to steal. You know, to get that double play, hit that cutoff. You know, to do the little things. It was the little things that we did every single game, you know, to win. That's what made this team special. You know, to me, we had two of the best pitchers in the league, in Donna Sullivan and Cheryl Haschek. Jocelyn, I wish you were a little bit older, because we would have loved to have you. We would have loved to have you on the team. It would have been great to have you on the team. I'd take these two girls over Kathy Shaw any day. I loved playing this game. I loved playing with these girls. My God, I want to play some ball. I want to play some ball. This was a special, special team. Coach Kelber was a great man. He was a great coach. He was a mentor. But more importantly, he was a great friend to our family. Sadly, about 5 years ago, we lost our mother. And he was there for us. He still comes and sees my dad, and talks to my dad all the time. Sadly, my dad couldn't be here today, but Coach Kelber, Linda Kelber, wherever you are, thank you so much. I love you guys. I love this team. Thank you guys for making my senior year so incredibly special. Mel and I started playing rec ball together. That's how we met. And I'm so proud to be a Hurricane. I love Brooklyn High School. Go Hurricanes.
You know, I've been on the stage many times, but I've never been asked to speak, so this is different. When I found out that we were nominated, the first picture that came into my head was the movie The League of Their Own, where the end scene was all the old ladies returning to their to see their Hall of Fame for the ladies of baseball. None of us are old, though. I can't think of a better reason for us to be standing up here today. What an honor that 40 years ago, this group of friends gave it everything we had. We went on to win the Inlet Conference sectionals, districts, and regionals. Coach Bob Kelber demanded the very best from each and every one of us, and we did not disappoint. Although we came up short one game to play, Akron-Hoban, for the state championship, we are proud to stand up here today and share in the honor of accepting this recognition. Here's to the 1983 Brooklyn High School girls softball team. Thank you.
Hey guys, one more thing before we go. I wanted to recognize Mr. Sullivan. He was a huge supporter of women's sports, and especially the girls softball team. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He was the president of the Boosters, and he supported us tremendously and gave us some money so that we could all go out to lunch as a team when we went out to Ashland for the state tournament out there. So, Mr. Sully, we know you're looking down on us. Thank you for supporting us and loving us.
And remember, there's no crying in baseball.
Congratulations. Our final student presenter is Jackson Diller, who is the center fielder for the baseball team. After graduation, Jackson plans to study at a four-year university.
Thank you, Coach Hall. The 1998 baseball team, coached by John Hangsteller, Jeff Stanton, and Tim Hanlon, was a state Final Four finalist. Multiple team players were state winners, All-Ohio Award winners, conference-level award winners, and recognized for their athletic prowess while at Brooklyn High School and in college. The team exceeded expectations and exemplified what a true team is made of: hard work, teamwork, and playing as a unit as opposed to individuals. Congratulations to the baseball team. Coach Stanton, please come forward to receive your team award.
Good evening. I'd like to start my comments just with a congratulations to all the nominees and the award winners tonight. So congratulations to all of you. It's fantastic. I'd also like to change things up here a little bit because the guys that are on a team, they're tired right now because they've been sitting for a long time. So I'm going to make them stand, and they're going to come up here. So all the guys on the team, let's get you up here so we can see who we're talking about here. And I think I heard that Mike and Jack are going to speak. Is that right? No, Mike, you're not. Jack, are you? No, you're. Huh? Okay. I was going to bring you up. Okay. And good evening, everyone. What an amazing event. It's been so nice to catch up with so many friends from the past and to see people I haven't seen for so many years. Let me just say, look at these guys, right? None of them have changed a bit, right? They all have their hair. They haven't gained a pound, right? Just like me. These guys look great. Guys, I think you're in good enough shape that we can have a practice tomorrow. So we're going to practice at 3 o'clock. You guys all in? All right. Somebody tell Matt Fields, because we know 3 o'clock to him actually means 4 o'clock. So somebody get him there on time. This evening, and the honor to be here with all of you is in a category of what I would call unexpected joy. Unexpected joy is one of the greatest treasures of life. And when it comes, you must grab a hold of it, right? Thank you for the unexpected joy of speaking on behalf of these bunch of kids that are just great and who absolutely deserve to be in the Brooklyn Hall of Fame. Before I say a word of thanks about this amazing team, I'd like to thank and recognize a few people. First and foremost, my good friend, Dr. Ted Caleris, also known as your superintendent. You are in great hands with this man as the leader of your school district. I'd like to also thank the Brooklyn Board of Education. As a superintendent, I always thank the Board of Education. But I see Rocky Neal, shout out to Rocky there, Rocky, and a former student, Mr. Hazrouni. Where yeah, how about that? I don't know that I have a former student that's a board member, so thank you. That's fantastic. I'd like to recognize my mentor and great friend, Mr. Ron Szudy. Ron, words cannot express how grateful I am to you for all you've done for me as my mentor for so many years ago, and how grateful I am for everything you've done for me, for all these students in Brooklyn City Schools. I'd like to recognize and ask if they would stand Jen Hangsteller and her family. Alec is here, and her daughter Grace is here. Jen, I know you guys are out there, Alec and Grace, so stand. Jen and her family are such an amazing model of strength, love, and perseverance, and they're just amazing. I'd like, of course, to thank my good friend, the late and the great John Hangsteller. If it wasn't for Hank, there would be no celebration of this team tonight. Make no mistake about it, Hank was the brains of the operation. Coach Tim Hanlon and I were just along for the ride. Although Hank isn't here tonight in person, we all know that he's here in spirit, and Jen and her family, you being here tonight makes this even more special. A day does not go by that I don't think about Hank, and I'm forever grateful that I had a few years with him as my friend who was taken away too soon. I loved Hank. I still do, and always will. I'd like to thank the Brooklyn Hall of Fame Committee for their work, for Jack and Mike for getting this team assembled. And of course, I'd like to thank this amazing baseball team that's here tonight. As for the amazing baseball team of 1998, wow, how much fun was that? I've been so blessed in my career to be an educator for over 30 years and had amazing experiences. Teaching and coaching in Brooklyn and the time I spent with Hank and Tim coaching these amazing kids in the mid-90s were some of the best years of my life. And I cannot thank all of you enough for allowing me to be part of it. When I think about the 98 team and the run we made in the playoffs, I remember so many people asking Hank and Tim and myself if we were surprised by the success. But the funny thing is, we weren't surprised at all. We actually saw it coming. Hank actually predicted it a year or so before it happened. Let me explain. When I started teaching in 95 here in Brooklyn, and within a few weeks, some guy named Hank walks into my room, tells me we're going to build a baseball program. Now notice I said told me. There was no part of John's relationship with me where he asked me anything. He told me, Jeff, we're going to build a program. Hank heard that I had a bit of baseball experience and wanted me to help him. All it took was one conversation, and once we worked out the parameters, we set it in motion. He told me, Jeff, we have amazing talent coming up, and we have great kids for the next 5 or 7 years, and if we did it right, we could have a lot of success and a lot of fun. Because Hank demanded that we also have fun. You might ask, what were the parameters? Well, first and foremost, Hank told me that he would take care of the offense. That was fine by me because defense and pitching were kind of my specialties, so I liked that. And trust me, I reminded Hank of that initial agreement many times during games. Hank would turn to me anytime and say, Jeff, what the hell was that pitch? And I would say, Hank, worry about the offense, and I'll worry about the defense. And these guys heard that conversation between John and I many times. You need a lot of things to build a program. You need support from the school administration. You need support from the parents and the players. You need support and understanding from your family. You need good coaches to build the program from bottom up, and we had that in Tim Hanlon and the late Steve Carney. But most of all, you need the players. Players who were going to buy in, who were going to do things the right way, work at the game, strive to be better. We were pretty sure we had all these things, so we went about building this program. Over the course of the next 5 years, we would win conference championships, district titles, sectional and regional titles, and make an appearance in the state championships. We also had players that were all conference MVPs, all district and all state. A coach that was twice named Coach of the Year. I think Hank built the program successfully. I mentioned that I was not surprised at all in 98, and that is true. But it's because of what happened in 96 and 97. In 96, we didn't think we had all the pieces in place, but we won the conference for the first time in a lot of years. In 97, we started out like gangbusters, winning like 10 games in a row. And then we just had a bad stretch at the wrong time of the season, and we lost early in the playoffs, and that happens in baseball and softball, right? When Hank and I met for our annual review of the program at a local Parma establishment after the 97 season, it was interesting that both of us knew we were going to be okay. Why? Because of the boys that are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight. We knew we had a great bunch of guys coming back. We had talent. We had some young players that were going to make their mark once they were given a chance. We also had great role players, guys who knew their role and were going to be on board. But you need the players, right? You got to have the players. And man, we had some players. Although he wasn't able to make it here tonight, we had a great player or two, and I'll start off with Clint Najat. Clint simply was the best high school player in 98 in the state of Ohio. I've been around some talented players, and I've played and coached a lot of baseball in my life. Clint was about as good as I'd ever seen, and we knew he was going to be dominant in his junior and senior years because he was dominant in his sophomore and freshman years, and he didn't want to let anybody down. The best thing about coaching Clint Najat, he always allowed us to coach him. He always took the suggestions. He was so easy to coach. What people don't know about Clint was he asked Hank after almost every game, what can he do better? That young man was under intense pressure every time he stood on a field. And when he was pitching a game, our games actually looked like rock concerts. You just see the amount of scouts that were there. every time Clint threw a pitch. But he always looked to get better. That's the leader we had. Clint would actually get upset when he heard people say we were a one-man team. He was right. We should be upset about that because we absolutely were not a one-man team. The phrase one-man team upset Hank and Tim and me so much. I wish you guys could have seen Hank's reaction when a local reporter one time called us the one-man brigade. Let me say the reporter changed his mind after a talk with Hank. The last time I checked, unless you are Bugs Bunny and this is cartoon baseball, one person can't pitch, catch, field, hit, and run and win the game. Baseball is the ultimate team game, and man, we had a great team. We had players, man. We had Matt Field, who was going to turn into a great pitcher and a player for us, even though he was a 10th grader. We had to convince Matt of this, but once we did, he just took off. We had Mike Ricciuti prowling the outfield. Mike is one of my all-time favorite kids I ever coached. He was such a graceful athlete. He could do anything and simply prowl the outfield and hit the cover off the ball, always smiling, always hustling, always leading. We had Danny Gutschmidt, just a baseball savant, about as talented of a player around. He just lived and breathed baseball. We had Joe McNamee, great athlete, hated to lose, did so much for us that year, so intense. Loved coaching Joe. You need senior leadership, right? We had Bobby Fronick, Mike Cole, Matt Fields, David Lawley, Jack Abruzzi. Each of them good ball players and great kids who wanted to be part of the program. Each of them sacrificed. Each started some games. Each took a turn letting others play. They had no ego, no selfishness. They just led and had fun. We had Matt Ansell and Paul Watchwitz, who were juniors and made huge contributions to the team all season long. We even had some younger kids coming up and contributing, like Doug Raker and Jeff Dyken. We knew Dykes might be the best fielder we had, but he was so young, he just needed some more time. Plus, he weighed about 40 pounds. So we were a little nervous about putting him in there. But once we did, he just took off. We knew bringing Doug up would expose him to the program early, but he contributed. And we also brought in a great surprise, Paul Mitrohovich. Paul is a 9th grader. We brought him up. Now, there's some questions as to why we brought Paul up. And Hank said we brought Paul up because he was always pestering us and around us all the time. That's not true. Paul was a great kid and a great player, and he contributed as well, and he helped us down the stretch. We had this great mix of kids that you see up here and some that aren't here. Not only were they talented and loved the game, but they had fun all the time. And we had fun with them. I wish it could have lasted longer. Before the playoffs started in '98, we were a few games above 500 and not considered to be much of a threat to anybody. However, we were close. We were losing close games, but we were playing good baseball. Going into the tournament, we won 5 out of 6, and man, you can just feel it coming. I remember being at the tourney draw in '98, and a few teams jumped at the chance to play these guys. On the way home, Hank and I just kind of chuckled. They didn't know what we knew. We were a dangerous team, and we were going to make a run, and boy, we made a run, making it all the way to state championship round. The game we lost was a great game. Breaks just didn't go our way. That happens. But I'll go to my grave saying that we were the better team. There is no other group of men I can think of that are more deserving to go into a Hall of Fame than the young men that are assembled here. You are so special and deserve to be recognized forever for your accomplishments. But you are Hall of Famers to me for more than your success on the ball diamond. You are Hall of Famers because of the great young men you were, the great adults you have become, and the way you allowed John Hanksteller, Tim Hamlin, and me to coach you and to get the most out of the program we started building in '96. Surprised? Not at all. These guys have always been Hall of Famers. They always will be, and I love every one of them. So I go back to unexpected joy and expected joy. I want to thank these guys for the expected joy that they brought Hank, Tim, and me in '98. We weren't surprised. As for the unexpected joy, thank you for the unexpected joy you brought to the Brooklyn High School and the entire city of Brooklyn in '98. Everyone was overjoyed, all because of you, and that was unexpected joy. Thank you for allowing me along this ride and for the unexpected joy of speaking tonight on your behalf. You continue to bring me unexpected joy even 25 years later. I offer you nothing but congratulations. You are all Hall of Famers. Thank you, and God bless everybody.
can give all our inductees one more round of applause, please. Thank you. One thing I didn't do at the beginning of the ceremony, if you are a current Hall of Fame member and you're here on your own accord, could you please stand so we can recognize you, please? Thank you for being here. One of the things I start off by saying is tradition is very important to us here in the district, and you can't have a tradition unless you start a new tradition. So we're starting 3 traditions here this evening, and I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce some folks and talk a little bit about it. We as Len mentioned in his acceptance speech, we lost one of our Hall of Fame members, Brian, early this summer. He was not able, he was inducted last year, wasn't able to come to the ceremony. And so I just want to take a moment to recognize Brian, recognize his family. One of the traditions we're going to start is all of our Brooklyn Hall of Fame members will receive a polo today. So when you go down to the cafeteria at the end, all of our inductees are going to get a polo. It says Brooklyn Buzzsaw B Hall of Fame members. So if you're coming tomorrow night, we'd love for you to wear that polo, but you'll be able to get those at the end. But if I could have Jim come up to the stage to accept this polo on behalf of his brother.
Thank you. Brian's 2 daughters are flying in tonight from Seattle, and I'm passing this on to them. Thank you.
Bob Cummings saw the polo earlier. We were talking about it, and his first question was, do I get one? We'll get you one, Bob. We'll get you one for sure. Next person I want to talk a little bit about is Joe Drago, and for everybody in the audience, we are taping this on YouTube, our district channel, so you'll be able to go back, rewatch, share it with family members, those types of things. But this is this one's for Harry McCormick, and I know Harry's watching right now, but Harry sent me an email probably this past December just talking about Joe Drago and all of Joe's accomplishments and a recognition that additional recognition that Joe should get. Joe was recently inducted into the National Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame, and I couldn't actually not agree with Harry more. Don't tell him I said so. But I'm going to read a bio, and then I want to just talk a little bit about the tradition we're going to establish by renaming our wrestling room the Joe Drago Wrestling Room. 1972, Joe Drago began his career as a health and phys ed teacher at Brooklyn High School. He also served as a coach in both varsity football and varsity wrestling. Under his direction, the football team won the Kaga Conference Championship in 1974. For 13 years, Joe coached the wrestling team, first as an assistant and then as a head coach. Joe guided his team to 1 Kaga Conference Championship and 4 Inland Conference Championships. In 1983, Brooklyn High School had its first state champion in Kevin Friedel and its highest state team finish of 4th place. Other Brooklyn coaching positions included both assistant and head coach for tennis and girls softball teams. While head softball coach, the Hurricanes won 4 sectional and 2 district championships. In his second stint with Brooklyn football, he helped coach the middle school team to an undefeated season and a 15-game win streak. He later rejoined the varsity football staff and was part of the 96 co-championship in the MAC-8 conference. As a health and phys ed education teacher, Mr. Drago maintained a positive relationship with students, taught sports skills and life skills. His most recent accolade is induction into the National Wrestling Coach Hall of Fame. And again, I cannot think of a better, more deserving role model, educator, and person to rename our wrestling room after it. And hopefully, Joe, you'll be able to come back and talk to the kids a little bit, talk to the head coach, but hopefully this inspires a new group of wrestlers. So at this time, I'd like to officially rename our wrestling room the Joe Drago Wrestling Room. Joe, come on up.
All right, before I get started, I'm going to give you a 1-minute break to stand up and stretch your legs, but don't leave, okay? Clock's running. Go. You got a minute to stand up and stretch your legs. $25? No, that's all right. Okay. All right, Dennis, you okay? You all right now? All right, okay, let's sit down. All right, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that made this happen. The board, let me recognize the Board of Education, the board members that are here. Congratulations. Thank you for making this happen. Brian, I know you're here. Thank you. Hall of Famers, congratulations. Well deserved. Softball team, excellent. Baseball team, excellent. It's great to honor teams and individuals. Congratulations there. Thank you, Dr. Caleris, Mr. Becker, Ray, Bob, Harry, wherever you are. Down in Georgia somewhere, thank you. Real quick history here. I'm not going to make this too long, but I want to get through this because there's a number of people I need to mention. As was mentioned, I came here in 72 with Jerry Younger, Dave Petrus, and Dick Mikes. We're going to coach football. And much of what I'm going to say about wrestling, this is going to focus on wrestling, but a lot of the same things happened with the football program as we kind of went through here now. So when I came in 72, Paul Oberst, Coach Oberst, some of you guys don't know who he is, some of the young people here, but he has just been elevated from the junior high school up to the high school being the head coach. And he was in need of an assistant coach. So the history goes like this. Coach Oberst and I kind of knew each other from high school. We wrestled at the same time. Coach Oberst wrestled at Rhodes. Coach Szudy, there you go. All right. Good Rhodes man. All right. And then I wrestled at Valley Forge. We both went on to Bowling Green, and we were teammates at Bowling Green. Although we weren't friends, we still knew each other. So when I came here, he was looking for a coach. We sat down and talked. Said, wow, this is a good mix. And the reason it was a good mix is because it goes back to his high school coach, Tom Ellard, and my high school coach, Steve Rudo, were friends when they were in high school, and they wrestled together at Ohio University. So what Coach Oberst learned and what I learned coming up through the ranks were the same things. So when we got together, everything meshed really, really well. His philosophy, my philosophy, great. No problems there at all. Now, what we did was we inherited a bunch of great athletes who wanted to win. That was important. Now, when this all kind of came about, they said, oh, you guys changed the culture. Here's the backstory there. We didn't change the culture. We didn't know any other way. At that time, we were 22, 23 years old. We didn't know anything but this. So this is the way we're going to do it. You're going to work hard, and you're going to expect to win. Great formula, simple, and it worked. Guys bought into it. Now, Very quickly, some of the guys that, when I say wrestling, you'll probably know these names, even if you're a casual fan of wrestling. We have Kevin Friedel, state champion. Dennis Marconi, right there, state champion. Okay, excellent. We had 2 runner-ups. Now, this is over a course of 13 years. As mentioned, Coach Oberst was coach for 6 years, and then I took over after he left. So we had 2 runner-ups. We had Pat O'Malley and Rick Palesci, runner-ups. They were good. Yeah, they were good. Third placers, we had Bill Lang, Ken Friedel, Roger Benavides, and though Joe Mauser was not part of our gang, Joe, congratulations. All right, he was a third placer too, part of wrestling lore at Brooklyn High School. Fourth placers, we had Bill Renton and we had Mike Heil. Okay, those are some of the heavy hitters, all right, during that particular time frame. Congratulations. Now here's where the culture changes. Coach Oberst and I knew this when we came in, because again, that's the only way we knew how to do things. It wasn't just this is going to be a baseball and softball analogy. It wasn't just your home run hitters that made a good team. It was your singles and doubles hitters. So when we got into dual matches, we could expect, okay, this guy's going to win, this guy's going to win. Let me backtrack for just 1 second. I say guys because at that time there were no girls. What am I feeling about girls wrestling? I'm all for it now, believe me. I think that's great. Girls wrestling is super. All right. So we had the singles and double hitters that we needed to work with. And we brought it even further than that. This was Oberst, and this is, again, Drago working together on this. But anybody that walked into that room deserved the best we could give them, and we could try to make them the best. Now, they might never ever wrestle varsity, they might not ever be a state champion, but they got the best that we could give them. And that helped them become better people. And not only that, become better people, they would push the home run hitters and the singles and doubles people. And that made for great success over those 13 years that I was part of Brooklyn Wrestling. All right, now I know I'm going to get I'm sorry, wait, I almost did it again. This is my wife, Rita, right here. Okay. She's been my co-coach for the last many years, okay? She's been through the whole gamut. So again, I'm glad I didn't forget that, okay? All right. All right. Now, this next part's going to get me in trouble. I know it's going to get me in trouble here, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I mentioned in a specific year, you might have 30 people that were on the team, 30. And on a good year, we would get 2, 3 that would go to state. Good. Congratulations, the home run hitters. But there's 26, 27 people that didn't do that. And they were still part of the program. And they get bypassed. They don't get recognized. I know I'm going to get in trouble here, but I'm going to try to go through just some names. So bear with me for just a couple minutes. And I'm going to forget people. If I forget you and you're here, I apologize. If you're watching on YouTube, sorry. All right. All right, let's start off. No, wait a minute. Let me put my glasses on so I don't forget anybody here. All right, and don't laugh. All these wrestlers I'm going to name are senior citizens now. They all have their AARP cards, so just bear with me a minute. All right, the Thiels, the Hallmans, the Scotts, the Hiles, the O'Malleys, the Bakers, the Brownings, the Friedels, the Harrells, the Soeders, DeMarcos, Melcher, Wilhelm, Hufford, Single, Herman, Beningo, Brugerman, Ox. Anybody remember Ox? Oh, yeah. Ox, okay. Hamlisher, Mastry, Hirschbach, Segas, Mazios, Ellis, Boigner, McKay, Ordini. I saw Reno sneak in over here. Okay, Reno. All right. Miller. See Miller over here. Good. McCarthy, Mass, Lenhard, Smetana, Rentons. That was plural, Rentons. Okay. All right, good. Okay. So again, those are some of the people that made the whole thing work. And again, if I forgot you, if I didn't mention you, I didn't forget you. If I forgot you to mention you, I apologize. Now, one last story I need to share, because even if you're a Brooklyn wrestler or wrestling person, you might not know this story, but it is very, very important that you really do know it, and it's important to me. So first of all, we have Bart Lenhart. Did Bart come tonight? I saw Bart the other night. But Bart wrestled here in the room downstairs, the Joe Drago wrestling room, okay? And he wrestled down there, and he had a son, Mason, who went to St. Ed's, 3-time state champion at St. Ed's. Bill Lang wrestled down in the Joe Drago wrestling room, okay? He had a son, Ryan, who was a 4-time state champion at St. Ed's. We have Mike Heil sitting back there. Mike Heil had a son, Dean, 4-time state champion at St. Ed's. That's 11 state champions, individual state champions, who had their legacy at Brooklyn High School. And I'm proud of that, and I think people ought to know that. Oh, and by the way, Mike Heil had another son, Logan, who was a state champion at Brunswick. So congratulations to all those guys. Now I will conclude with the following. I am proud, overwhelmed, joyed that they have named the room after me. The room is nice. That's great. But, whether it's a softball field, a baseball field, basketball court, or the wrestling room, Joe Drago wrestling room, okay, all right. It's not the building, it's not the room, it's what goes on inside that's important. There's life lessons to be learned, and there's values that are taught. And again, thank you very much.
Congratulations, Coach. Last recipient this evening and last acknowledgement, I'll just end with a quick story. Came back as superintendent in 2020, and one of the first people I talked to no one's surprise, was Bob Cummings. And we talked about the tradition and pride that came with being inducted in the Hall of Fame and being an alumni here. And I saw, we started talking about Mr. Szudy. And Mr. Szudy, if everybody doesn't know this, I'm going to tell you now, was actually inducted into, or given the opportunity to be inducted into the Brooklyn Hall of Fame in 2016. And Mr. Szudy, and this is my conversation with him earlier this past year, declined. And he declined because he really felt, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, that members of the Brooklyn Hall of Fame should be alumni of the district. Mr. Szudy, I would argue that you're as much a part of this community as somebody who's lived there their entire life. So if we can't induct you in the Hall of Fame, we're going to do this. New tradition, moving forward at this Hall of Fame ceremony, as long as I am the superintendent of this school district, we will award to somebody worthy of the award, the Ron Szudy School Community Engagement Award. I'm going to read on the plaque, if you don't mind. Ron Szudy, former teacher and coach at Brooklyn High School, exemplifies commitment to Hurricane academics, athletics, and cultural and performing arts. Known as the original Mr. Brooklyn, Mr. Szudy was beloved for his efforts in the school and the community. Brooklyn City Schools is proud to establish this award in your honor. Proud to be a Hurricane. And Mr. Szudy, you are also the first recipient of your award.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Ted, this is not expected. Very, very much, deeply appreciated. From a proud Rhodes Ram. From a proud Rhodes Ram. Hail to the varsity Hurricanes.
We will have a perpetual plaque in the board office area lobby with our future award winners. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I'd like to give our inductees and recipients another round of applause, please. I forgot one thank you. I want to thank Bobby in the back, who is streaming this on YouTube for family members, community members that can't be here this evening. You'll be able to watch the ceremony again. So thank you, Bobby, for being here. I'd like to invite our inductees and guests back to the cafeteria for desserts. There you'll be able to get Hall of Fame members. You'll be able to get your polos, which you can wear at tomorrow's game, and you'll be able to receive your tickets for the game. Thank you. Go Hurricanes.
Thank you.